It's 2 a.m. The room is dead silent, and the only light comes from the faint glow of your phone charging across the room. You should be sleeping, but instead, you're standing in the middle of a crowded room, delivering a speech so powerful, so articulate, and so devastatingly witty that everyone is silenced. Except, that room doesn't exist. It's inside your head. You're replaying a conversation you had 3 hours ago, or maybe 3 years ago. And this time, you're winning. You finally found the perfect comeback for that passive-aggressive comment from your coworker. You're explaining your boundaries to someone who never respected them. You are, in this moment, the most eloquent version of yourself. Most people who do this feel a secret sense of shame. They think it's a sign of social anxiety, or worse, that they're losing their grip on reality. But psychology suggests something completely different. This isn't just overthinking. It's a sophisticated mental mechanism known as cognitive rehearsal. But here's the strange part. You aren't just talking to yourself. You are functioning as an eloquent loner. This is the first paradox of your personality. You are someone who is capable of incredible depth and verbal brilliance, yet you often find yourself choosing silence in the real world. You are a master of the internal script, yet you feel like an amateur when the actual spotlight hits. Why does your brain wait until you're alone in the dark to give you the right words? It's because your mind is trying to close a loop. In psychology, we call this the Zeigarnik Effect, the brain's obsession with unfinished business. That argument you didn't finish, that feeling you didn't express, they stay active in your mental RAM. Your brain creates a midnight courtroom where you can finally seek the justice you didn't get during the day. And this is where things get interesting. If you find yourself constantly directing these internal movies, you aren't just brooding, you are actually building a protective shield. You are a quiet architect, constructing a reality where you are safe, understood, and finally, heard. Think about how a pilot learns to fly. They don't just jump into the cockpit of a Boeing 747 and hope for the best. They spend hundreds of hours in a flight simulator, a safe, controlled environment where they can crash 1,000 times without ever getting a scratch. Your brain is doing exactly the same thing. When you're standing in your kitchen, staring at the kettle while it boils, and you're mentally arguing with your landlord, or rehearsing a "we need to talk" conversation with a partner, you aren't being weird. You are engaging your social flight simulator. But there's a deeper reason for this. For our ancestors, being rejected by the tribe wasn't just embarrassing. It was a death sentence. If you were kicked out of the group, you wouldn't survive the winter. So evolution gifted you a brain that is obsessed with social survival. Your mind treats a difficult conversation like a life or death mission. It wants to test every possible outcome, every what if, and every potential reaction before you actually open your mouth. This creates a fascinating personality paradox. You are often calm on the outside, but hyper alert inside. While you look like you're just calmly waiting for your coffee to brew, your internal processors are running at 100% capacity, scanning for social landmines. Most people never notice this part. You might feel like a social pilot who is constantly preparing for a crash landing that never happens. You are a fearless architect of scenarios. You can build entire cities of dialogue in seconds, anticipating exactly how someone might judge you, ignore you, or challenge you. You do this because, deep down, you don't just want to be right. You want to be safe. Let's pause for a second. Does your brain do this more for conversations that already happened? Or are you constantly pre-playing future events? Let me know in the comments, because this reveals which type of internal scriptwriter you really are. But here is the twist. While this simulator is designed to protect you, it often ends up exhausting you. You've lived the conversation 10 times before it even starts. By the time you actually see the person, you're already socially drained. You've done the work of a 3-hour drama in just 5 minutes of staring at a boiling kettle. And this leads us to an even stranger pattern. Because it's not just about safety, it's about your internal radar. But here's the strange part. Most of the conversations we replay in our heads aren't happy ones. We don't usually spend 3 hours imagining how we'll tell a friend we like their new shoes. Instead, we imagine the confrontation, the breakup, the moment someone calls us out. Why does your brain choose to torture you with these mental horror movies? It's because you possess what psychologists call an emotional radar. You are someone who is hyper alert inside, even when you look perfectly relaxed. You don't just walk into a room, you read it. You notice the slight shift in your friend's tone, the way your boss didn't look you in the eye, or the heavy silence in a text message. This is the paradox of the guarded empath. You are deeply empathetic. You feel the world's emotions like they are your own. But because that feeling is so intense, you've built a protective wall around your mind. Imagine you're walking through a crowded party. For most people, it's just noise and music. But for you, it's like seeing invisible waves of energy. You see the tension between the couple in the corner. You feel the insecurity of the person laughing too loudly. Your internal radar is constantly pinging, collecting data on everyone's moods. And this is where things get interesting. Because you sense so much, you feel responsible for managing it. You start rehearsing conversations not because you want to fight, but because you are trying to pre-solve a conflict before it even happens. You are trying to find the exact combination of words that will keep the peace. You are an emotional strategist. You are independent, yet deeply sensitive to the social climate around you. You spend your energy trying to predict the weather of other people's souls. But there's a deeper reason why you can't just turn it off, and it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with a hidden part of your past that is still trying to protect you. Does this sound exactly like you? Are you the person who notices the vibe change in a room before anyone else? Most people never notice this part, but your brain is actually performing a high-level creative act. You aren't just worrying. You are a screenwriter of human emotions. But the question is, who is this script really for? If you recognize yourself in these late-night debates and mental simulations, you've just discovered your new identity. You are an internal screenwriter. This is the ultimate paradox of your personality. You are socially skilled, yet socially exhausted. In your mind, you have the charisma of a movie star and the wisdom of a philosopher. You can navigate any social crisis with ease. But in the real world, sometimes just ordering a coffee feels like a performance you haven't rehearsed enough. But here's the twist. Why do we do this? Psychology suggests that these imagined conversations are often a form of internal working models. Your brain is trying to update its software on how the world works. If you grew up in an environment where you had to walk on eggshells, or where your feelings weren't immediately validated, your brain learned to pre-process everything. You became a quiet strategist. You aren't talking to the real person in your head. You are talking to your version of them. Think about a quiet evening at home. You're sitting on the sofa, scrolling through your phone, but half of your brain is currently in a heated debate with your sister about something she said 3 days ago. You are trying to rewrite the past to gain control over the future. You are trying to give yourself the closure that the real world refused to provide. Most people never notice this part, but this mental cinema is actually a sign of an incredibly high IQ and emotional complexity. You aren't crazy for having a cast of characters in your mind. You are simply someone whose inner world is more vivid than the outer one. But here is the danger. If you spend too much time in the writer's room, you forget to actually film the movie. You become so good at imagining how people will react that you stop giving them the chance to surprise you. You become a prisoner of your own brilliant scripts. And this is where we find the path to emotional relief. Because these voices in your head, they aren't your enemies. They are actually your oldest bodyguards. Maybe you were never overthinking. Maybe you were protecting something deeper. When you imagine someone finally understanding your pain, or when you rehearse a speech where you finally stand up for yourself, you aren't just talking to the air. You are giving yourself the validation that you didn't get in the moment. You are being the advocate you needed when you were silent. You are being the listener you wished you had when you were ignored. This is the ultimate secret of the internal screenwriter. These conversations are actually an act of self-compassion. In the quiet of your own mind, you are safe to be angry. You are safe to be brilliant. You are safe to be vulnerable. Your internal theater is the one place where you don't have to wear a mask. You are socially skilled, yet socially exhausted. Not because you lack ability, but because your inner world is so rich and so intense that the real world often feels like a pale imitation. But here is the final shift. You don't need to win the argument in your head to be worthy of respect. You don't need to find the perfect script to be understood. The fact that you care this much, that your mind works this hard to process, protect, and prepare, is proof of your incredible depth. You are a deep-sea person living in a shallow water world. Your mind dives deep because that's where the real treasures are kept. So the next time you find yourself at 3 a.m., winning a courtroom battle in your imagination, Take a deep breath and smile. Thank your internal screenwriter for working overtime to keep you safe. Then, let the script go. Because the most important conversation you will ever have isn't with the person who hurt you or the boss who overlooked you. It's the conversation you're having with yourself right now. And in this story, you've already won. Maybe you were never avoiding the world. Maybe you were just protecting something beautiful.